think it's a good question. I was looking at the IPCC data and predictions from not too long ago, and one of the interesting things I saw was actually that if you look at the dynamics of the situation, if we stop, for example, present emissions, as they are now, then you'll see that the global temperature goes up and it kind of levels off. If you look at sea level rise, that carries on for a millennium. We're starting a process that carries on for 1,000 years before things change. So I don't know, but maybe some of these discussions refer to sort of the ultimate sea level level.
I have a question on your economics.
Oh, sorry.
That's all right.
That's my weak point.
And it should be easy. You said that the report, which was criticized so much, that the scientists had used a 0% discount rate.
Yeah, I was told that.
And economists who said that's ridiculous, you need to use some discount rate, would therefore say, no, it's actually cheaper not to deal with the issue.
Yeah.
But it strikes me that economics, like the EBBF, is rather dynamic, and that if you have a model which then carries that forward for the years, then by definition you're going to get to the point where it in fact is economically more viable to either deal with or to have dealt with the issue. So I don't quite understand. I haven't read the report either, but I don't quite understand why such an analysis would not come to the point where there would be a time where it's economically important either to deal with it right then or to have started to deal with it.
No, I don't think that's what they're saying. I mean, what the Stern report focused on trying to, whether it's economical to start avoiding it now, because all the scenarios show that we really have a very short window of opportunity of a couple, I think maybe 15 years, a couple of decades, to, for example, change the whole energy system towards a more sustainable path, to actually seriously be able to do it. So you have to, you have to convince that it's, for the present day, decision makers, that it's economical. That it's economical in the far future is not what's at the table for them. I think that's the issue, at least. In GDP per capita, or particular shareholder price or something, if you're redefining it to spiritual growth, then how are you going to know that you're going in that direction? And that's where the efforts to try and actually even measure that in a qualitative or quantitative sense, and the way it manifests itself, because we know that spirituality, we can't touch it in that sense, but we are told that it's not spirituality unless it's put into action. So if we grow spiritually, we're going to manifest that in action, which can be observed and we can actually look at, whether it is how many miles we bike, or how many visits to our dear neighbors we give, how we what kind of presents we give to our loved ones. Doesn't have to be, stuff to express love. So, but we're going to have workshops looking more at that, and EBBF will be involved in that kind of exciting project as well, finding spiritual indicators.
We have one more question.
My question was related to the sustainable use of non-renewable resources.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't get exactly how can we do that? I mean, when we take non-renewable resources.
Yeah, I think actually.
For example, let us take a fossil fuel. So how we define sustainable use of fossil fuel?
Could I hand that to you, Larry? Because you gave me an example over breakfast.
I have an opinion, but if you invest the capital that fossil fuels are into means of generating energy sustainably, then that's a reasonable investment of that capital. So that's a thought.
Because this definition really implies that, you can use these non-renewable resources. I mean, on the one hand, you have to consider the pollution aspect of them. I mean, that is kind of a separate issue. So, I mean, you can have really avoid using fossil fuels because of climate change, not because, oil is running out, for example. But if you want to have humanity to have access, if you do not directly now consider the pollution aspect of it, for example, it's easier with steel or other things that you mine from the earth. If you take that out of the earth, and there's not an unlimited supply. We have, so much. There's a lot of it, but it's not going to. If we think about human civilization for the next 500,000 years, we really better recycle, because otherwise we're going to live on a whole mining dump, all of us. But the idea is that the rate that you take it out is that it's not greater than the rate at which you can produce something renewable with that resource to replace it. I mean, for metals, it can be that you actually really have an effective recycling system so that you don't have to take out more. And with fossil fuels, that you actually use the cheap energy you have in those to produce the wind turbines and the solar panels until you have an energy system that is producing cleaner energy. And you no longer need the fossil fuels. Because it takes, the whole setting, transforming society and energy production also needs energy.
Sylvia.
Thank you very much indeed.
Big warm round of applause.
With her lunch, dinner, or the breaks at any time, so that we have these speakers here available with us. Before we start the next session,